So moment of truth time. Would I recommend someone buy this router? Well, so I've always kind of looked down on Ryobi tools. Whenever I would be in a big box store, I would see them in the power tool section, and I'd look at them like, those are cheaper tools, the price is nice, but I bet the quality is just not there. Well, recently I had the need in my shop to pick up a new palm router because my Bosch palm router I'm installing in my desktop CNC, and so I thought, okay, it's time. Let's try out some Ryobi tools. So today I'm going to show you how this router performs and is it worth you buying. Let's go. One more quick note, Ryobi is not sponsoring this video, so I'm gonna give you my honest thoughts about what I really think about how this router holds up. This is what we are unboxing. We have the Ryobi One Plus palm router right here, and then I also bought the One Plus battery starter kit. One thing I was kind of impressed with as I was shopping for these last night is that these One Plus batteries are super versatile, and so they can power a drill, a circular saw, a router, polishers, tons of the Ryobi tools, which Ryobi has a ton of tools in their lineup. This battery can power all of them, which is pretty handy if you want to get on the Ryobi battery platform. So I'll start by unboxing this router. Looks like we have a little dust collection port. Instructions, that's super important. Oh, also we have a little crescent wrench. Not a huge fan of the way this feels, just kind of right off the top of my head, but you know, a little crescent wrench. And then we've got the router. Okay, so starting with this router, it actually has a little bit of weight to it, which I like. I guess I would call it good weight. I think you have good weight and bad weight. This actually feels like good weight. This main cylinder right here is metal and not plastic. I love that. This little lockdown is plastic, but it feels quality. And then I also love this hard rubber grip right here. You know, with a router, you want to make sure you have great control. It's super important that the grip, you know, is comfortable in your hands and you can control the router because you have a little blade spinning at an insanely high speed that if you lose control, it can damage your workpiece or more importantly, it can damage you. And so you want to make sure that you have a router that has good control. I am kind of curious. This seems like it might be a little top heavy once I put the battery in. We'll see about that in a second. Another thing I noticed is that this does have variable speed. That is hugely important. With a router, if you're using a bit that's going to take off a lot of material, think like 1/2 inch roundover, bigger bits, you want to slow down the speed of your router to reduce tear outs. But if you're using a small bit, think like, you know, 1/8 of an inch roundover or something that's not going to take off as much material, you want to speed that bit up. And so I really don't know why anyone would make a router without variable speed, but this does have variable speed. So that's a nice feature. So let's see what happens when you add the battery. Now this is the 2 amp, 18 volt Ryobi One Plus battery. They make larger batteries, but since I was buying this battery specifically for the router, I knew that I didn't really need to get a larger 4 amp battery, so I just stuck with the 2 amp battery for now. Okay, so what I was wondering about earlier is the case. This is a little bit top heavy. Not that you're going to be, you know, routing. I guess you could route like this on the side, but it feels a little bit jank just because, I don't know, it just feels so heavy at the top. We'll see how this works in a second when we actually route something. One thing that would be nice about this is you can flip this over and it does have a stable base. You'd want to be super careful if you have a router bit exposed and if it's still spinning, but with my Bosch Colt router, the base is not where I'd want to put it upside down because it would probably fall over. So this you can put upside down and kind of stand up like that. So that is a nice feature, I guess, but the downside is when you're actually routing, it's going to be pretty heavy even with the smaller battery up here at the top. A couple more features about this router. On the battery, it does have a battery indicator. I really like that a lot. The Milwaukee batteries have the same style battery indicator, but I actually like this better. I think this kind of shows up a little bit easier. This button's easier to press than the Milwaukee battery indicator, so I really, really like that. And it doesn't have to be plugged into the tool, which is kind of what I was thinking. So that's really, really nice. This vacuum attachment, super easy to install. I will say that I'll be curious as to, does the vacuum hose kind of get in the way of your hand when you're holding the router? That might be something just kind of that we'll watch once we test this out. I will also recommend that you keep up with this shield in case you ever just want to go outside. You're not worried about dust collection, because it's a lot more comfortable. The router's a lot more comfortable to hold when this isn't here. But I wanted to make sure to test this out for you guys. All right, so let's start it up. I'm gonna put this on the lowest speed setting for now, just to see what happens. Very quiet. I'm gonna go up to about speed 4. And then I'm gonna go all the way to 6. I do like the soft start on this. My Bosch router also has that. I like that a lot. This does have an LED light, but I'm not super impressed with it. It only turns on when the router is actually running. I would almost prefer it be on the whole time, maybe once the battery's plugged in. Maybe they do that just because it's not a corded router, because my corded router, whenever it's plugged in, the light's on, and I like that a lot. Also, just the positioning of the light, I feel like it's not the greatest. Not a huge deal, but I don't know, I'm just not a huge fan of where they put the light in this router. One more thing that might seem really small, but it is a lot different from the Milwaukee tools that I've used in the past, is when you install this battery in the charger, it locks into the charger like it's locking into a tool. I really like that a lot. Some, like my Milwaukee batteries, they just kind of like, and you're like not sure if you've pushed it all the way into the charger. I like that this just snaps into place. That feels really nice. Got a little bit installed in this router. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this, but this router only takes quarter-inch chunk bits that have a quarter-inch chuck. That's what this router takes. We got one in here. Let's test it out. One thing that pleasantly surprised me about this router is the dust collection. I routed a little bit on both sides of this poplar, and you can see there's a little bit of chips, but a little bit on the floor. But for the most part, this little vacuum attachment is super, super handy. My only gripe with the dust collection on this router is that sometimes the vacuum hose would want to fall off of the dust ports, but this also might be the adapter I have, so not really sure if I can put that on Ryobi. So moment of truth time. Would I recommend someone buy this router? Well, I think I would. I would give this router a 7.5 out of 10 overall rating. I think the pros are it is at a great price point. I love the battery platform compatibility. And honestly, I was pretty impressed with the internals, the power, the soft start, the variable speed, and also the dust collection was really, really good. For cons, I would say it is a little bit uncomfortable. It's a little top heavy. Sometimes it can just feel awkward, especially when you have dust collection hooked up to maneuver. So I was not as much a fan of that. And then also just the overall ergonomics, not only the top heaviness, but installing router bits was a little bit cumbersome, just not quite as quick and easy as some other routers that I have used. But when you consider the fact that you're getting this at a much lower price point and it can still make amazing, router profiles or anything like that, I think it's a great, great starting router. I'll put it to you this way. I'm not going to return it. I'm going to be using this as my primary palm router in the shop for the foreseeable future. So It's good enough for me for those small things like routing out the edges of cutting boards, things like that. If you're a beginner, I would recommend this router. I think it's a great starting point, and you could always probably sell this down the road if you ever wanted to upgrade to something a little bit nicer like a Milwaukee or a Bosch. By the way, if you did not know, the parent company of the Ryobi tool brand is a company by the name of TTI, and they make brands that you would know like Ryobi, but also Rigid and Milwaukee. I am a huge fan of Milwaukee products. And so I was a little bit hesitant to buy this Ryobi, but I think it held up very, very well. And if you're a beginner woodworker, I think it would work great for you. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you hit the like button on your way out and check out one of these two videos because I promise you will love them as well. And I'll see you in one of these videos.